Hi, my name is Cindy Nagel, and I work as a speaker, coach, and consultant, primarily working with financial advisors. So before I started working with Lisa, I was actually in a transition period. I had worked on my own before, but that was several years ago, back in the 90s. And I knew that this time when I was going to be building a business, that I needed to do it differently. And I wanted to scale because back in the 90s, it was very difficult to scale, but now you can scale. So I was looking for someone who I could be authentic with, that would help me be authentic, and that had done it and done it well and was inspiring. And I actually found Lisa just by looking at LinkedIn posts, and we were connected to the same person. And I saw several posts and said, this is someone I really need to talk to. And sure enough, the personality that shines through on LinkedIn is the personality she has. And it was just great from day one to get to know her and work with her. So one of the things that stood out to me in working with Lisa is truly on her LinkedIn profile. The first picture I saw of her, she had her arms out. She, was just her authentic self. And I had kind of gotten to a place where I was getting away from that a little bit. And I said, this is someone I, again, really need to talk to. And so when we had a chance to speak, she used phrases and things that I had not heard of before in a good way. I didn't know what a lead magnet was. I didn't know what a funnel was. So I knew that I was talking to someone who had done it successfully, who had a great reputation, a strong following. And I could tell she was very supportive of women. And that's one of the things that I was looking for. Someone who'd been there, done that. I know how to execute. I know my audience. But I don't know all the stuff that I would need to get done behind the scenes to really scale. And also to, just get back out there again on my own. And that's after the first call that Lisa and I had. I knew that she was the right coach for me. I've had coaches before, but this was something that was different, and it was a different that I needed. And it was great to continue to work with her. So I think there was several strong outcomes in working with Lisa. And I would say, candidly, it was both tactical, strategic, as well as emotionally supportive. Because when you're building something, I don't want to say I had doubts, but I didn't, have as much knowledge in that area as I would have liked to have had. And Lisa is a authentic cheerleader as well as someone who really knows her stuff. So one of the things, for example, that I knew right away is, number one, I was going to get a coach, and I had to find the right one. And number two, I was going to need to get someone to support, and I was going to need to outsource all the things that I'm not good at, which is many, many things when it comes to the operation side and the CRM. And again, I didn't know what a lead magnet or a funnel was. So Lisa is also very well connected and was able to provide some resources, who one of them I'm still using to this day, over a year later, because she helps support everything in the background. And then I don't have to worry about any of it. So I think, in addition to that, what's making me think differently is, and I'm still working on it, and Lisa doesn't even know this, that I have a really good idea that I'm going to be going into 2026 with, but it was really around getting paid money for time. And I had been paid money for time and was really trying to get away from being paid money for time, really looking at the scaling. And I will say at the beginning and over kind of the first year, I'm still doing some money for time as I'm building some scaling, which is great. But one of the things that I've learned to say no to mentally is, like, for example, there's a team that I know if I picked up the phone and called them, they would probably hire me as a, fractional COO. But I had to be diligent and say, although I would love to do that, and I think I could really help, that's not the business model I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a scalable business model. So I've actually, this year I've been getting some speaking engagements. I actually had 4 in 2025, and I think I'm going to probably have a dozen in 2026. And again, that is great, and I'm thrilled, but I don't want to do too much of that because it takes away from the scale. So I'm very picky on, what opportunities I take on, or what opportunities I reach out for, because I hear Lisa on my shoulder saying, that's not scalable, in a good way. So that mentality of, if you're going to build something scalable so that you can work from anywhere, you can get things done ahead of time and then roll it out. You just have so much more flexibility. Not that it's not hard, but it's a different kind of hard. You're doing something you're passionate about, and you're doing it in a way that doesn't make you just be totally worn out and not have any personal time. So I'm about probably a little over a year, close to a year and a half in. I built some things that may not have gone the way I hoped. However, I've taken chunks of those builds and they've gone even better than I could have imagined. So anything that you're doing, you will probably use it regardless of how it might turn out the first time or second time, because you're learning and you're also building chunks of things that you can scale as you're looking to build whatever that is you're looking to build. So if I were going to talk to someone about working with Lisa, the first thing I would say is, for me, it's a no-brainer. Once you get to talk to Lisa, you'll have a really good feel that she's the right person. We had a little mini group where there were 3 of us on with Lisa, who I all hired Lisa as a coach, all with different specialties. But we've all said the same thing. Lisa, not only is she supportive, but again, she knows her stuff, very approachable, very available, very responsive. And somehow she kind of picks out when you need that pep talk. And is able to give you that pep talk and tell you that, hey, it's all good. You did this. Now that happens sometimes, and this is the next focus, because now you can do this. So even with your challenges, she looks at those as opportunities, which I'm built that way as well. But when you have someone telling you that, it's a great affirmation. And again, Lisa and I are still talking over a year after meeting each other, and she's still supportive on posts I do on LinkedIn, just always there and always trying to support all of her clients. So again, to me, as soon as I spoke with her on the phone, truly, I was like, okay, this is the person for me. So if I were to say where you need to be on your journey to get the most out of working with Lisa, if it's something that you want to build something on your own, even if you're not sure if you're ready, sometimes even just talk. Now, I was ready, but sometimes if you're not quite ready, it's great to have a conversation with Lisa, because that may put you over that hurdle that says, okay, I'm more ready than I think I am. And then she can help you from there. Sometimes you just need that person, again, an affirmation to say, sounds to me like you are ready. And the other, person would be someone like myself, who I knew I was ready. And I knew I wanted to build something that was, again, scalable, that had automation, that wasn't the onesie twosie, type things. It was really building a foundation and building all of the processes and procedures that go with that. Because that, again, is not my area of expertise, but I know how important it is. So if you have a passion about doing whatever your thing is, talk to Lisa. She can help you figure out, is that something that's scalable? Is it not? Is it something that you might want to do a hybrid version, which is kind of what I'm doing right now until I get to that scalable point. So if you're looking to figure out how to do it without having to make millions of mistakes along the way, from someone who's done it, from someone who spent, I don't know how much money on coaching and everything herself before she launched her program, and taking what she's learned that doesn't work and taking what she's learned that does work, really cuts that ramp up time way, 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 way down, because she's been there, done that. She's not getting it from a book. She's getting it from personal experience. So, and she offers complimentary conversation. So have the conversation. That's the best thing I can suggest. And then I think you'll know pretty quickly, if this is the right thing for you to do. Because if it's not, she'll also say, I don't know, this may not be, doesn't sound like you're in that space yet. But, more often than not, she figures out a way that it could potentially work. But again, she's authentic, she's candid, she'll tell you like it is in a good way, and is your biggest cheerleader along the way. So I would say the folks that are right for Lisa's program are often women who have a calling. Maybe you're at the top of your career and you could lead, large teams, and you're sitting around the officers table and, all the things that go with that. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just doing something and you've been in this career, you've been doing it, for 10, 20, even 30 years, and it's just not as fulfilling potentially as it once was. Now, again, my career's been very fulfilling. I've been very fortunate. At the same time, there are a lot of women out there who say, there's something else out there for me. There's something else that I feel a pulling or a calling to do. And I feel like that would fill my cup, more than what I'm doing right now. And being able to have that conversation and talk through that with someone who gets it and who understands and who has been in that same position, who has been an executive, at a firm, very well thought of, very high up in the organization. And this is now what she's doing because she felt the calling to do that. So again, it doesn't matter what you're doing now. If you have a calling to do something else, that or something similar, but you're doing it in a different way because you feel like you could do it better or differently or whatever the case may be, that's a great time to pick up the phone and talk to Lisa, because she'll help you talk through that and give you some ideas. And then that's why I joined her coaching program, because again, I knew as soon as I spoke with her that, she was the person for me. I joined the coaching program, again, got additional contacts and support, and it's been great. And there's no way I would be where I am right now if I hadn't started working with Lisa, because I didn't know which end was up when it came to scaling and procedures and processes and all of that. I just knew what I'm good at and what I'm passionate about. And I needed someone to help me with that frame and that structure and the support and all that goes with that.